John Royce. Let's talk about John, and what is it that you like? Talk to us about the name of his novel, and what is it that you like most about how he writes?
The writing itself is what I would consider economical.
Mm-hmm.
It's very smooth. It's very readable. In other words, one sentence follows another. You're not tangled up in sentences like you would be with Faulkner or something like that. And the story is there's a tremendous market for children's books, which I think this fits into to some degree.
And what's the name of his book?
It's Eclipse by Shadow.
Uh-huh.
And I found, and he's a good storyteller, and he knows the rules of writing. One of the things is we have this mystery woman, and she lays out what we'd call the predicate of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in, doesn't give her name, she's an old woman, doesn't give her name, and starts talking about the great horse, this winged horse that Megan eventually owns, and walks away. But the reader knows we're going to hear more about this woman. And the woman comes back. Turns out she's a rich woman, and tells him about the great horse as if it's true, in other words. And that's where you have the juxtaposition of Megan's mother, who said it's just a fantasy and is not taken. Megan is thrilled by this whole thing, and of course that's where, and the story takes off from there.
And what is it about? Give us the name of the novel again.
Eclipse by Shadow.
Okay, and what is it that you connect with most about this book that John Royce has written? What is it that you really connect about? What is it that you connect with?
Well, he made the child so real, and the child is juxtaposed against the background of historical times, where John starts back, goes back to Rome, the great Roman Empire, which he said was neither Roman nor great nor an empire. But against the actual background of European history, we now have the simple story of the girl and the horse and the adventures she encounters. For instance, she lands in Roman times under the Emperor Trajan, and ends up being involved in chariot races. As a girl, it's very realistic because she's given a hard time being a girl by the other males, that she's worthless, and she's a slave, and this kind of thing. So that he has really laid the groundwork that you accept it, and it all seems to me as a reader very normal, and it's not.
Yeah, it's a story that takes you through different time periods. A very historical book. Does it bring you up to the present time as well, or
not in this novel? In Eclipse by Shadow, he ends with Megan in the Dark Ages, dealing with priests in the Catholic Church.
And how would you describe John's writing style?
Very economical, very literate, very smooth. One sentence seems to follow after another very seamlessly, so the reader is led almost magically into reading it. It's easy to read.
And when you mean easy to read, what demographic are we talking about here that this book would relate to? Can anybody, or is it?
I would, in my opinion, it would be mainly teenagers, both sexes, to young adults, say mid-20s. I think would like this. We have in the past discussed J.K. Rowling's books on
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, so that kind of demographic, that kind of age group, then And this is a trilogy that John has written then.
Yeah, I think the difference is John is very. I admire Rowling because she built this world like out of her head. John seemed to take exception in some of our emails, and that he's dealing with history. In other words, and he wants you to know that this is not. The story itself is a fantasy. In fact, he says, I didn't notice till later, that he says it is a fantasy. I wish he hadn't have done that, frankly, because yet. I keep waiting for Megan to wake up or something, but she doesn't. And we accept this fantasy on the day-to-day business and the adventures that Megan is encountering along her way from Roman times to the Genghis Khan to where the novel ends in the Dark Ages, controlled by the Catholic Church, controlled and ruled by the Catholic Church.
And what are the following two novels? Do you know the names of those, or have you?
No, I thought there was one, The Golden Spark. I thought I was looking this morning. I don't think I think the second novel is just coming out. I don't know that he's written the third. But it's a trilogy, and that's what he has planned. And
so, finally, what would you say to those that are contemplating reading his works, or someone who is into the Harry Potter type series? Would you recommend this book to them?
Yes, I would. In fact, one of my themes in life is that literature isn't my God, but it's probably my religion. And that literature and history complement each other. And John Royce's novel is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. He has delved into actual periods of history to give the reader a history lesson in what was going on. And within that, we have the personal story and adventures of the young heroine who is 12 to 13 at the start of the novel.